Welcome back, America. It's Hugh Hewitt, joined by Florida Senator Rick Scott. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
I'm calling you from dysfunctional Washington, D.C.
Well, you and I are both in the same city. That's probably why reception is so bad. So let's hope your phone kicks in there. Senator, I want to ask you first out of the box. John Bolton was a great proponent of regime change in Venezuela. Will that continue to, you believe, with the same energy and focus without him in the national security offices?
I sure hope so. I mean, John Bolton was a patriot, or is a patriot. He's worked very hard for freedom and democracy around the world. I think he was a key to what's going on in Venezuela. Right now I'm asking the State Department and Department of Defense why, if any oil, my understanding, oil is still flowing between Cuba and Venezuela. And I know John Bolton was a fighter. I hope President Trump continues to fight for the people of Venezuela.
Well, I know Secretary Pompeo is pretty committed to this effort as well, and it really does require focus and execution across the government. Is there any sign that Maduro's support is cracking that we have just not been paying attention to because of we'll come to the Iranian attack on Saudi Arabia, but what do you hear from your friends in the Venezuelan community in Florida?
Well, I think on one side they're optimistic. They're very appreciative of what America has done, but they look. Maduro's still there. You know, most of the European countries have not been as aggressive as we have been with the sanctions. So I think it's frustrating. People are still fleeing Venezuela. They're still fleeing into the other countries in South America. It's having a significant impact on Colombia. So look, I remain optimistic. But I think the next key is we got to stop. There should not be one drop of oil that gets out of Venezuela to Cuba, because Cuba is the key. They're the ones that are propping up Maduro with all the thugs from Cuba right now. And so I just hope the State Department and the Department of Defense is doing everything they can to make sure there's no oil flowing.
Second check, the Bahamas, Category 5, hours and hours and hours. I've never seen anything like it. How are they doing? Again, you've got a great Bahamian expat community in Florida. What do you hear? What do we need to do?
Sure. I've been talking to the Prime Minister and talking to the Consul Generals to make sure we have all the help we can give them. I've also been talking with USAID, making sure that we're doing everything we can. And there's a lot, as you know, there's a lot of people in Florida and even around the country that have property or friends in the Bahamas, and they're doing a lot of things. I've been down with relief efforts down in Miami. They're sent over there. I've been pushing the Bahamian government to give us more information about exactly what they need where, because the private sector will show up, I know from Florida, but probably around the country to help them. So the Abacos in particular are devastated, but it's a beautiful island. The people are wonderful. They love their country, and I know they're going to rebuild it.
All right, let's talk a little bit about now what Iran did 2 days ago. And you're on armed services. I know you track the hypersonic threat, but this is I don't think America's quite absorbed what it means to have 20 drones and cruise missiles attack with precision a major installation. I'm thinking of UAE's 4 nuclear power plants. I'm thinking of everything else in the Middle East, including our bases. What do you make of this, and what do you think the United States ought to do in response?
Well, we first off, we cannot negotiate with Iran. That's step one. We have to continue to put pressure on them. When we sit by the sidelines here and we let Iran keep doing it, attack the tankers, now attack Saudi Arabia, what's next? What is next? We know they chant death to America. They want to eliminate Israel. They're supporting Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And so they've got proxies in Iraq and Yemen. I don't know if we have got, and it really needs to be more than the United States. I am shocked that Europe doesn't take this seriously. At this point, I don't see Europe being worried about this, but they're not going to stop. Iran's not going to stop and just focus on Israel and the United States. And so while Europe wants to continue to do business with the horrible individuals that run Iran right now, I don't get it.
So tell me what you think, in consultation with the Saudi Arabian allies and other allies in the region of Israel, of course, what ought the United States to have on the table?
I think we have to have every option on the table, including the military option. It can't be our first choice. I think We have a president that is, rightfully reluctant to go to war. We don't want to go to war, but we have to protect American assets, American men and women. We have to protect our allies, and I think everybody's got to show up. I mean, it's not this. If they continue to disrupt oil flow, it's not going to just impact the United States. At least we're in a better position now because we're an oil producer. If you look at the world order and look at the world economy, if the Saudi Arabia assets go off, off the grid and they're not going to be able to produce any more oil, it is going to have a dramatic impact on the livelihood of people all over the world.
So again, Senator Scott, do you believe that a strike on Iran's energy production facilities, which seems to me to be proportionate and precise, they have a very limited capacity to produce electricity, it would greatly injure the country. Do you believe that ought to be on the table?
Absolutely. And we've got to work with we've got to work with Saudi Arabia to understand exactly what our allies in the region, exactly what they think we ought to be doing. We ought to be talking to European leaders about why they're not coming to the table. And right now, I don't see how anybody, Russia, China, Europe, anybody is better off with an Iran that's trying to absolutely create war, causing havoc with oil prices. I don't see how anybody's better off, and everybody's got to stay Iran. You've got to stop this. You've got to, quit creating chaos in the Middle East.
Well, the two words that never go well together are aging and theocrat. And we've got an aging theocrat in charge of Iran, and they get a little crazy when they hit 80. And I just begin to think that it's not a good situation if we lay back. What do you know about filling the National Security Advisor post?
I've been talking to the White House. I don't know a name yet. I have not been told a name. I think it's going to be very difficult to replace John Bolton. He had such experience, and he had the right voice. So I hope whoever does that is very similar to John Bolton. Shoot, I'd like John Bolton to come back, but I hope it's somebody like John Bolton that has that much experience and is absolutely a patriot and committed to freedom and democracy in the United States and around the world.
And so, any timetable on when that name's going to surface? Because we're in the middle of a crisis. It would be good to have more than an acting NSA.
I have not been told.
Right.
You have not been told when that's going to happen.
Talk to me a little bit. You're on armed services. That's not a propes, but you know how important it is for the Pentagon. I was at the Pentagon yesterday meeting with some senior officials over there getting briefed on a couple of things. And I know how important it is to the military to have a steady flow and an idea of what their money is going to be in which department. That means a defense appropriations bill. You got your Defense Authorization Act, but we do not have an appropriation. Do you expect that to come quickly, and do your Democratic colleagues understand the importance to the military of avoiding continuing resolutions?
They must not, because they agreed right before recess. They've agreed to everything, and now it seems like they're putting poison pills on the table to cause us to go to a continuing resolution. I think it appears that's where we're headed right now, which is horrible for the readiness of our military and how we're going to spend our dollars. But the Democrats don't care right now. I mean, it's just fascinating to me. They don't care if we have a secure border. They don't care if we have a efficient, lethal military. They don't. I was disgusted watching that women's soccer game where they booed people that were joining the armed services. I mean, what is going on in this country?
I don't know, but I do know that the people in the Pentagon believe it's important for the American public to understand continuing resolutions completely bollocks up acquisition and training and readiness. Jim Mattis, I interviewed him at
the money the right way.
Yeah. So how do you get that message across? And what do they say to you when they look at you and they're talking about Brett Kavanaugh stories that are made up and completely debunked instead of the DOD and the money that they need?
Oh, they'll say, if you're talking to them, oh, yeah, I'm committed. Oh, yeah, we got to get that done. But then, behind the scenes, what are they doing? They're talking about attacking, Kavanaugh. This is all. They hate Trump. The Democrats just hate the fact that Trump won in 2016, and they don't care what happens to this country. They're going to do everything they can to make sure Trump doesn't win in 2020. This is all about the presidential race in 2020. It's not about taking care of our country right now. We have
Now,
so many crises around the world, and they don't care.
last question, Senator. You've been a governor, and now you're a senator. The three leading Democratic candidates for the nomination, two current senators in Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, one longtime Senator, Joe Biden. Can you sum up why a senator without any other experience may be the worst person to put into the presidency?
Well, if you look at the people on the Democrat side, I mean, think what they're not even close to what we need in this country and what people want. Take away everybody's private health care, open our borders. They're not supporting our military. I mean, you just look at what they're doing. It makes no sense. Who is their audience right now? It's clearly not the American public.
It is clearly the hard left of the Democratic Party, and you know Elizabeth Warren and you know Bernie Sanders. They're sincere. They're wrong, but they're sincere, correct?
They sure appear to be. Well, Bernie for sure seems to be sincere. I don't know. I watch him on the Senate floor, and it's like a show. It has nothing to do with reality. It's just a presidential show. What do I have to say? All they're saying is, what do I have to say to try to win the presidential nomination so I can be president? They don't have a plan of how they're going to fix this country. They don't have a plan to help our military. They don't have a plan to secure our borders. They don't have a plan to fix health care. They're going to mess up health care.
Well, good luck in getting that message out about the appropriations, Senator, and in getting help to Venezuela, the Bahamas, and keep doing a great job. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Senator Rick Scott of Florida, one of our favorite guests, on top of almost everything. It helps to have been a governor for 8 years. I really do believe if you're going to be a president, it helps to have been a governor.